right. Hello and welcome to today's episode of Snow Ops Live. Excuse me for the quick pause there. I was trying to check some settings on my end, so not sure if I got everything correct there, but we're doing our best on this end, and we're excited to be joined today by Chad Gorr, the account executive and jack of all trades when it comes to winter over at Castle Rock. So we're excited to have him calling in today from Pennsylvania and talking a little bit about snow and what they're doing in PA to prep for the winter season. Welcome, Chad.
Thank you. I'm excited for this, and yeah, I think it'll be a great talk. So,
Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm excited too, and I appreciate again you taking some time here right before the season gets underway. I know that you all are busy, and we're again just excited to have you. So, um, let's get started. At the end of every
awesome.
episode, we ask previous guests to provide us with a question for the next guest without even knowing who that is. So let's start there. The last guest was Mark Polianato, who is from the Canadian membership, and he left me with this question: the biggest challenge that he's seeing is people right now. The people who do the work, it's limited. Less and less people are interested in the snow industry. We were talking about that a little bit before you jumped on. Like, hey, you have this passion
Mhm.
for it, but not a lot of other people maybe do. What should we do to engage staff who want to partake and participate in snow plowing? What are you guys seeing? Is there any kind of guaranteed hour program that you're seeing is successful, or any other benefits that you're using to incentivize?
So for us, we always like to say like people aren't an issue. We
Mm-hmm.
always know there is, but I think it all comes down to how you interact with your people and how you treat your people at the end of the day. You know, a lot of the people we find is we market ourselves on Facebook, we market ourselves on LinkedIn. Um, but at the end of it, it's retention of the people that we keep bringing in year over year, and those people go to their friends and they tell their friends, and it's a domino effect. Um, a big thing, like if you for us, you treat your people right, you put them first, and we were looking at somewhat of an incentive program for to do that, and that's still in the works. And I think it may be coming down the pipeline. But right now, we've been really good with how we've been marketing ourselves, and having our people market us for us as well. It's been all around a great experience thus far this year, and we went from 25 to 30 people last year, and we'll be upwards to 70 this year. Um, and I think all the way around, our retention on that is almost everybody from last year besides one person. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that speaks volumes to how if you put your people first and you give them a chance, uh, that they're going to want to keep coming back and working for you. And another big thing to that, and I don't know what you think about this, but positive attitude. Um, we all know what we do is tough. We all know getting up at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. to go out and start pushing snow. Like sometimes that's tough, especially if you have a family. But you keep a positive spin, and I love doing it, and I portray that to everybody we talk to and everybody I talk to, and you just got to make it positive because at the end of the day, I think it's a great time. So I love doing it, and I push that to our other guys, and some of them were a little tough in the beginning, but they're all starting to come around now.
Absolutely. I think that it is definitely all about mindset. That's not to say that there aren't other motivators for certain people, but I think that positive spin and that positive outlook on what we're doing in the space and how we are, it's an often overlooked industry, but we're first responders in the space. And I think that,
Absolutely.
having that mentality too, first man up mentality or first woman up mentality is huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what are other big trends, whether it be challenges or opportunities that you're seeing in the snow industry this year or that you're planning for this year? And how do you see the industry tackling them?
I think so. As you said before, I'm the account executive, so I do a lot of our sales, and I see a lot of that stuff on that side of things. And I think one thing we've been contending with, and most of the times, like for us, like we have our operations manager with us when we are meeting with people and going over the bids and proposing those in person. But I think a big thing we're seeing is just the underbidding of a lot of sites
Mm,
and kind of getting cut short. And you look at it and you're just like, well, we know our numbers. We dial stuff in, and I think a big thing right now that we're working on is pitching value. Because what we do, you have a lot of equipment, you have a lot of money going out for the equipment, for the people. Like we have to be pricing right, and if you get behind that, I think it's going to make the industry better as a whole instead of when we get cut. And it's a tough thing that we're going through, and I think in the next few years that's going to make a big switch.
hmm hmm Well, I think that knowing those numbers, as you mentioned, and being able to sell the value, sell the fact that we are an insurance policy to some degree, and also having those relationships to drive home that
Yeah.
value is going to be key. I know that I hear it quite often that there's a crunch going on in the space, whether it's through insurance, whether it's undercutting. There's a definite crunch. So the folks who are doing it the right way, like you are, and like Castle Rocks is, that I think that uh, you'll continue to weather that storm, or I sure hope so. And I have confidence in the leadership there, and in you, and your passion for it. I think that passion shows through to those potential clients and customers that may go with the lower bid in year one, but then they
Yeah.
come running back in year two or three saying, "Oh man, we chose someone who wasn't taking the job seriously."
And it's all building relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got undercut now, but you continue to build that relationship. You continue to build a partnership. Um, and at some point, they're going to realize, like, oh yeah, we made the wrong decision. Let's make a switch now.
Yeah.
And we keep grinding. You keep working. You keep showing what we can do. You keep pushing the value of what you bring. Um, and at the end of the day, that will beat the low bid when you portray the value and they really start to see it. And it may take a little bit, but you can get there. I definitely have gotten there on a few of our sites, which is a great feeling.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's super insightful, and thanks for sharing that win because that's what it is.
Yeah.
So, um, next up, can you talk about some of the new technologies or innovations that are helping, or maybe a challenge for snow contractors? It's a big conversation topic right now. How do we become more efficient, more profitable? And it's a hard thing to do, but sometimes tech can help that. But also, onboarding new tech is tough for uh, an ops team because you're having to train 10,
Yeah.
15 or more people on those new pieces of tech. What role are you seeing tech play?
So I haven't. I will be straight. I haven't dealt with much new tech coming out. Um, for me, before we take the jump into new tech, I think we need to really strengthen our even more so than what we already done our training program to make people more efficient and our operators more efficient. Um, I from some of the tech I've seen, the storm vision that looks fantastic. Um, I'm not getting a chance to test that this year. I was hoping to, um, but then even on the other side of the battery operated stuff or the remote operated like sidewalk equipment and stuff like that. Um, I think it's all awesome for the industry, and I think some point that stuff's going to make a really big push, and it'll definitely benefit us in a big way. Um, but when it comes to innovation and new technology, we're making a switch right now with into a new platform, LMN.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be play a big role. It's going to be easier for our operators. It's going to give us a lot better things than what we currently have. Um, and sometimes new tech and innovation it's on a smaller scale before it's on a bigger scale. So
Yeah.
we all got to start at one point, and each year you start adding a little bit more and a little bit more. Yeah, I think it's going to end up being a big change in the next few years. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right. But I think you bring up a very insightful point, Chad, in that, we have to work on the education, the training, the safety. Those are the first lines of efficiency, and
Yeah,
then the second line of efficiency, as you're saying, is that tech. Maybe that's rung number two on the ladder, but
yeah,
there's multiple rungs on the ladder. You can't just
yeah.
hop right up to the top. So I think that's a super insightful point. And I mentioned safety, so that's a good transition. Safety is something that's important to all of us, especially with the insurance headaches that we're feeling. Maybe one of those things that helps insurance is a safety culture. So tell me, what are some of the mission critical safety measures and best practices that you're seeing with your snow ops team, and what you guys are prioritizing there at Castle Rocks?
I think a big thing for us is, we're prioritizing like prior to the storm, a day, 2 days out, like 3 days out, like really driving into the guys like, hey, you got to work on eating right. Don't be eating junk prior to the storms. Make sure you're getting enough fluid in. I was one guy that, I'd make it a snowstorm and I'd be chugging monsters the whole time. And, that's, that's never a good thing. And last year I made a switch to where like I got my water intake up and I was actually having more energy, 10, 12 hours into a storm than I was when I was on my third or fourth monster.
Yeah,
Um, but it's just prioritizing your sleep and making sure you have that taken up, because we all know once that plow hits the ground, sleep's going to be pretty much non-existent for a little while. So prioritizing that and prioritizing like on the opposite side of things, prioritizing and getting everything at home taken care of. Because, like you said, we're essentially like a first responder, and we need to make sure our minds are right when we're going out to a storm. So making sure everything at home on the home front's good and secure, and so when you go out, the only thing you're worrying about is what you're there to do, not if you remember to pick up diapers 2 days prior for because you knew you were going to be out, stuff like that. It's just all those little things that can end up compiling and making a snowstorm even more stressful because you're thinking about all that stuff, which could definitely cause issues during the storm.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Making sure those pressures aren't mounting in other ways, and making sure that we're not under an avalanche, figuratively or literally, with the stress, or with, as you mentioned, the food and the different things that take a toll and play on us mentally and physically. The pre-storm checklist is huge. So my final question for you today in this short form, quick back and forth interview, is this: we always, as we did at the beginning of this episode, we try to tee up a question for our next guest. Our next guest will join us in December. We'll be talking about some of these same things as well as some other items. So, what would your question to a fellow snow pro be? What challenges are you facing, and what insights are you looking for? What question do you have without knowing who that person is, for that December episode?
I think the one thing I was thinking about is how do you as an ops manager portray your value to the client, and how do you portray what value do you push when you're in that conversation, um, and then does that value go down to your employees? Are they pushing that value? Like what type are you seeing, and how do you feel that you can portray that a little bit further?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How's that company culture living through, not only
Yeah,
in the sales
absolutely.
process, but in the action, and in the snow clearing, and snow warrior mentality?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
culture is a big thing. And some companies look at it and some companies don't. So what do you do to keep that culture running through the company?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. I look forward to asking it next month, and getting an answer to that. Hopefully, you and others will join in. I just want to say
Definitely.
thanks again, though, for being a part of today's episode. We'll be resharing this a few times in the next month. I think
Awesome.
that everything was very valuable, and I again just appreciate you taking 10 to 15 minutes to spend some time with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're
Anytime.
welcome. You're welcome. Good luck this snow season. Take care of
Thank you.
yourself, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Evan.
Thank you.